Welcome to the Whatslacking Podcast. It's your host, Larry Atencia. With me today is Ty Bell. How old are you and where are you from, Ty?
34 years old from Oakland, California, and currently reside in city about an hour outside of LA. So that's where I'm at with it right now.
What's the name of the city?
I live in Colton. It's like
Okay.
right next to San Bernardino, Riverside area, the
Okay.
IE.
I.e. Inland Empire.
Inland Empire, yeah.
It's a cool name. What do you do for a living?
Currently, I'm doing the stay-at-home dad thing, getting a chance to be with my son in his first few years while he's getting ready to start school. He's on the spectrum, so it made it his schedule, like with the schedule that he has, it's not necessarily like the same schedule you would have like if he was just going to daycare or he was just going to preschool. So me actually being a stay-at-home dad right now, it's conducive with his schedule. So that's what I'm doing right now. And then once he starts school, I'm gonna get back on, doing my thing. But right now I'm just, looking after the little man.
What's his name?
His name is Ty Josiah Bell. My name, but he's got different middle names though. So we call him Josiah though.
Okay. And then are you married?
Absolutely not.
Seems like you're pretty against the institution of marriage. You care to elaborate on?
Totally against it. It's like the most pointless shit ever. But anybody that chooses to do it, it's like that's great. If that's something that you feel like you want to do, if you feel like that's something that if that's something that you feel like is what you want to do with your life, and that's the direction you want to go in, that's great. But it's like I just got to you get to that age in life where you just kind of start thinking for yourself opposed to just following the thought pattern and going down the same vein that you just following the things that were put in front of you your whole life. And you just start kind of thinking for yourself and start like thinking about the logic in things opposed to just doing it because that's what everybody else does or that's what they say to do. And when you get to that point, you just start looking at shit for what it really is, and it's just like there's literally like no point in my mind. You know what I mean? Like logically, there's not really a point. I feel like if you are into sentimental things and tradition and things like that, but like logically, like physically, like it changes nothing. So it's like you literally just kind of signing up to if the relationship ends, which statistically is more likely to happen, you're stuck with a bill. Just
yeah. Let me ask you a question. So in your past, you never had any relationship where you questioned whether to keep this, strident anti-marriage position?
Well, the thing about I've only been in like a couple of serious relationships, and in the relationships that I've been in, like the woman that I was with, it wasn't really tripping off of like let's get married at some point. Like it wasn't that we kind of had like the same mindset on it. It wasn't really like a thing that was like that we were like working towards or whatever. It was just we just enjoyed each other, which is what any relationship should be.
Yeah. And so I'm assuming that moving forward in your future, any relationship that you have, you are also going to, pretty much establish that marriage is out of the picture. Or would you ever consider, having a lifelong domestic partner, or is that also something that you're not even willing to fathom?
Well, no, those are two different things. Like to find somebody that I get along with, that makes me happy, and to share my life with, that's fucking amazing. Like that part is cool, but like, what do we have to sign a contract for?
Right.
What does that do to our situation?
But functionally, right? Like it might be a marriage, right? So like in some jurisdictions, legally, you have the same sort of obligations and entitlements of marriage if you live long enough with one partner. So
yeah, it becomes what they call in California. I think it's just California. I think it's probably in other places too, where it's just a domestic partnership.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So
is that something that you're not against?
No, I'm not against that at all. It's just I'm against putting your relationship on a legal contract. You feel me? I'm all for, companionship. I'm all for finding a person that compliments you and somebody that you're happy with, bro. That is the best shit ever. I hope that every human being on this planet finds that. But what they've done with the institution of marriage, it's like some medieval shit. It's like some medieval mentality where it's just like, back in the day, they was like doing it so that, what I'm saying, you could combine like powerful families and shit. Like, and nowadays people just doing it because they watch, Love at First Sight and shit, and they just want to, they do it because they just want to have a wedding.
Yeah. Right. So if you distill the truth of a wedding or a marriage, it's this idea that two free individuals are coming to a public agreement that they are going to commit to themselves, to their relationship, to a family. And so it makes it a lot more conducive to maintaining that relationship when you're making a public promise, because society or your community is going to hold you accountable for that promise that you made in public. And so all the other things on top of that kernel of truth in marriage, or are things that if you could remove, one could say that is doable and something that has its positive elements, right? So if I, as a man, tell my partner or the person that I'm with that I am never going to leave her and that I'm going to be there through thick and thin, through the highs and the lows, through trials and tribulations and happiness, they might not feel that my word is as accountable and as heavy as it would be if I made that promise in front of other people that we loved and care about. And so it behooves you to make the right decision initially as to who you choose to actually, build a family with and a relationship and to actually give your life to. Right. So it makes it
but at the same time, this motherfuckers that's on their fifth marriage. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if everything you just said was beautiful, if everybody looked at it like that, shit, the divorce rate wouldn't be 52%. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be a gang of married niggas out here with girlfriends. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, we're human, bro. At the end of the day, it's like we're human. And I feel like what it comes down to is I feel like people put a lot of unnecessary pressure on themselves to do that shit by a certain age. Like, because, everybody thinks that, when you hit 30, your life is just fucking, you keel over and die. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know what I'm saying? So everybody thinks that, I got to do this by this age. And it's just like, no, you don't, bro. Right. Like, people be trying to, like, get married at, like, 26 and shit. Just like, bro, you really trying to make a decision for the, like, that's something that's just a commitment for the rest of your natural life at 26? Like, I don't even think, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of early, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that you should be trying to make any type of lifelong decision until you, like, in your twilight years, like once you get out of your 40s and shit. Because that's like, if we being honest, like, that's when you're ready to, like, literally settle down. You're not trying to be out. You're not trying to be outside. You're not trying to be chasing whatever piece of ass that you see. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and every man is gonna look, but it takes a certain kind of energy to actually pursue. You feel me? And at a certain age, you ain't trying to pursue every piece of, you know what I'm saying? You just happy with having that person that, gets you, that, that may get on your nerves or whatever, but we all, but you're two different human beings. So of course you're going to have your disagreements or whatever. But at the same time, this is the person that you are down to ride off into the sunset with. I don't believe most people find that at 26. That's why most people get divorced. And I'm not saying that you can't find it. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that the amount of pressure people put on themselves to find it, I don't think that they're actually finding it. I think they're just like getting somebody to fill that role. You dig what I'm saying? So marriage just becomes like, reality TV. Everybody just wants weddings. Women want the title of wife instead of girlfriend because they think that it's something different. It's like you're literally just a girlfriend with a contract. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll get paid if we break up type shit, opposed to you just leaving with nothing if you're my girlfriend. It's just like when you look at shit logically, which nobody likes to. Everybody likes to look at marriage with rose-colored glasses. It's like, bro, if you look at this shit logically and put your feet on the ground, you're literally doing nothing differently after the wedding that you were doing before. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's just like, if I see a couple that's been together for 10 years and they're not married and they happy as hell, but there's a couple that was together for 3 years and now they're divorced, whose relationship was more serious? Yeah. You dig what I'm saying? Who, you know what I mean? Because that's why people try to make it seem. They make it seem like they ask you questions like, why you not married yet? It's like, what kind of question is that? I feel like that's the same as asking somebody, why you not a millionaire yet? They're both equally, they're both equally as ridiculous in my point. It's just like, that may not be what I want for my life. I don't want to throw my whole life savings into this, this volatile stock that might tank tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, let me find somebody that I enjoy and let's just enjoy each other. Yeah. Why do we have to, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like, it's just weird how people, even with the divorce rate being what it is, even with us all living this shared human experience that we know people ain't perfect. A lot of times people ain't just meant to just be with one person and just deal with one person and their shit forever. We all know how that is. Even with us all understanding this, people still say, oh, why you not married? Marriage. It's like, bro, just do you. I'm just a complete advocate of just doing you and living your life.
I agree with you and disagree in terms of what you said about what age to make these very important life decisions, such as marriage, and 26 not being the best age. I agree because I think that is correct for men. I think for men, it's probably a little bit better to make a decision about marriage and settling down and having a family when you're a little bit older. So maybe 30 and over. I disagree because I think that for women,
biological clock.
Exactly, that isn't the case, and so there might be a discrepancy between the ability that men have when they're at the same age as women to be able to give themselves completely to a woman, but women, because of their declining fertility after a given certain age, and the fact that marriage as a institution is predicated on the idea of reproduction. And
let me stop you right there. Because that's why.
And so if they're older, hold on. If they're older, they and they don't have a commitment from a man to be with them and to help them raise their children, it might be something that could be detrimental to their ability moving forward to have children and have the right person to help them take care of that child.
But that's why it's an idea, right? Like how you said, they have the idea, that idea that, oh, I need to have somebody to settle down with me to do this, to raise this kid. And I know you brought in having children into that equation because, they equate marriage with being able to raise children. But me, as a single father, as a person that's co-parenting, I'm a better father than a lot of married niggas. Facts. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's married niggas who I am killing in the fatherhood realm. You feel me? Like, I'm there for my kids more than a lot of married niggas. And that's what people don't understand. They think that, I don't want to be a baby mama and all this type of shit. Yeah. It's just like, don't call yourself that then. But at the end of the day, if you marry somebody and divorce them 2 years later, you're in the same boat as the baby mama. You're a single mom with a kid. So it's like you're going to be in the same boat regardless if you sign that contract or not. Yeah. I don't know why people think that this contract that you sign with this person automatically means that they're going to be a devoted husband and father and family man. We're going to ride off into the sunset and be buried in caskets right on top of each other when we die type shit. That rarely happens. First go around. So what I'm saying is that don't predicate your idea of me finding somebody to start a family with based on somebody that I can get to sign this contract. That's dumb because, like I said, I'm a better father than a lot of married men. My nigga.
What other criteria? What other criteria would you use as a woman to determine whether someone was going to be there for the long run, unless they are willing to make this sacrifice and commitment to you? And the way to demonstrate that is to say, hey, I'm willing to make this promise in front of my family and friends and or religious institution or even legally.
Then a year into the marriage, they miserable, arguing like cats and dogs, and they break up and they get divorced. I know somebody personally that this has happened to. Like, there ain't no guarantee. It's like, if this is the only thing that they can go off of, then I feel bad for women. Then I'm sorry, bro. Like, it's just hard because it's like you don't know. Because if marriage was this automatic thing, it'll be way more successful than it is if marriage was this thing that people thought was just like, oh, this is going to be the guarantee that I'm going to have a successful family life. If that was the case, divorce wouldn't be like let's just talk about the marriage industry as a whole. It's like $1 billion industry. Mm-hmm. And divorce is like half of that billion, probably more based on the statistics, right?
Yeah.
I'm coming off the freeway off ramp and I'm seeing signs that say divorce ? Call us. Like, it's, it's like the equivalent to like them the new signs that be like, well, we flip houses and shit. Like, it's like one of those. They got divorce attorney, advertisements and shit. Like, that's how prevalent divorce is in our society. You know what I'm saying? So somebody's constantly looking for somebody to help them get through their divorce. Like, that's so it's like if it was something that was such a foolproof plan, you dig what I'm saying? It wouldn't be a bunch of this shit going on that it is now. So it's just like what I say is, don't ignore red flags. You know what I'm saying? Don't ignore red flags. Vet the person, based on here opposed to here and your genitals. Because a lot of times, not just women, but men, well, I don't know, bro. And I don't want women to be upset at me for this, but it's just like, I see a lot more women that'll be like college educated, you know what I'm saying? Like probably working in like a nurse's office or some shit, or like a nurse's assistant or something. And they dating niggas that's in and out of jail. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't never seen a dude that went to college, you know what I'm saying, that's got like, a good ass job that's like wifing up strippers and shit. Like I don't see that, really ever. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, like women will like wife, like get with a dude based on because he's, having good sex with her. Or because it's like he fulfills this little fantasy of like, this bad boy shit that, a lot of women be chasing, a lot of black women be chasing, you know what I'm saying? And they make bad decisions. And I can say that because I have people in my family like this. I know people personally. So I'm not trying to bash black women and all that shit. But I'm just saying that like, it's facts, bro. And you can be mad at facts all you want, but them is the facts. Like a lot of black women choose niggas based off of like dumb shit. And it's like, that's why a lot of them, you know what I mean? I know a lot of people, women that are like, every woman that I've met that's black that has a kid, like that I've either like dealt with on some type of romantic level or just know personally that have a kid, dad ain't in the picture at all. Dead in jail or just acts hella weak. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you got a date this weekend? I ain't watching the kids type shit. Like you getting with them kind of niggas. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like,
I do think
vet your partner better.
Yeah, I think there's social, cultural factors at play here, and that we could get into, but it might be a little too deep in the sense of like a cheapening of the institution of marriage, and one might argue that that's because the strength of religious belief and people's ability to commit to religious traditions has decreased and diminished in the last.
But my thing is this though. I don't think that there being less married people means that we're doing worse as a society. Like that's how people try to equate it. Like, oh, people aren't finding God as much, or people aren't getting married as much. So our society is not.
No, I meant more about the divorce rate, right? So 100 years ago, if you got married, it was very difficult to get a divorce.
You couldn't, like your wife was your property back then. Like,
well, no, not 100 years, maybe. Okay, 50, 60. But
even that recent.
Point being that divorce is very difficult, even for, men had an easier time of maybe getting away with that. But I think it was just basically difficult for both men and women to get a divorce. Obviously, most men did benefit more from the institution of marriage, and there's historical arguments like you were saying about it being more of controlling
traditional things.
Yeah, controlling women's reproduction and their bodies, and just sort of political and economic alliances between families and
like women couldn't even have bank accounts.
I understand the historical argument against marriage as a anti-women institution, but that's why I said the distillation of the truth of it, aside from that, dark history that it may have, gets at something that is ideal and perhaps even something that we could celebrate and take forward without any of the historical negative aspects of it. So I was saying that maybe because we don't have marriages now that are supposed to be these very important events and promises that one makes that you cannot get out of, right? Because if the idea is that you need to make the right decision, because if you don't, you're going to have to be for your life miserable, right? And that's just the cost of the decision that you make and that you made, sorry. So now, because it's so easy to step away from a marriage, and that has to do with the fact that it's just a legal, like you said, transaction and contract, where there is no other higher force or higher purpose to it, which is if I'm making a promise in front of God, and I believe that God is, the creator and someone that I cannot make false promises to, that's going to have a completely different effect than if I just get married at City Hall and it's just this sort of, diffuse government. And I know that tomorrow I could just annul it by, just getting a lawyer and just legally getting a divorce.
But
right?
that's what leads me to believe that a lot of people just get married because they were just told that that's the thing to do. You know what I'm saying? People just get married because as a kid, you're growing up. All you see is at the end of the Disney movies, the princess marries the dude, or the dude marries the princess, or whatever.
Right.
Marriage has always been, you see in TV sitcoms, movies, everything is about a husband and a wife. Everything has to end in a marriage. And that's not the case. And
It's
I feel
not
like, but a lot of people feel like it is. A lot of people feel like it is. People feel like this shit has to happen, or I'm not fulfilling my humanly duty. I'm not fulfilling my human existence properly by not doing this shit. It's fucking crazy how people view this shit.
But I think for women, a man's commitment and willingness to get married is a heuristic and a shorthand that demonstrates to her that he is someone that she could trust, to at least that he's going to be there for her and for the subsequent family that they are going to create.
Like, so marriage is for women.
If you're willing to marry me in church and make this promise and put money into this ceremony and into this event, then I know that the likelihood of you staying has to be greater.
So marriage is for women is what you're saying?
Yes.
That's what everybody, because when I see arguments about this online, that's what everybody says. It's like, bro, this shit is for women. Like, it doesn't benefit men.
But it's also, it's also for men. I think it's less important for us because, I think biologically, I think it's much easier. Not that it's easy, right? Because I do think that there is a sense in which when we do have children, just like you perfectly demonstrated, we are connected emotionally to our children. We want to be there for our children, and we want to make it work for the children that we do have. But it's also very, not as, I think, as strong a link or a bond that we have with our kids that women do. And so if a woman has a child and we end up leaving, which is always a possibility with men in history and in different cultures and different societies, then that makes her life a lot more difficult. And so if I am, if a woman says, yo, I'm willing to have a child with this man, and having a child is something that is going to, take a lot of my physical, emotional energy and investment, I need to make sure that this is someone that's going to help me, because it's not an easy process to have children and to bear children. And so I think it's more important for women to try to gauge whether a man is willing to be there for them, help them with the child, and have a family. Because even though most men, we're good people and we're willing to help, but it's easier for us to just say, you know what, this isn't what I want, and I'm leaving. And a woman, I think, it's harder for them to say, I'm leaving, you stay with the child, to a man, as opposed to a man saying, I'm leaving. And
even though it's very common, I know a lot of women that ain't shit as mothers.
Very common?
Very.
I don't think
it's more common than it's reported on. Just like, it's like, oh, women don't cheat, only men cheat. Men are the dogs. Women are just these victims that just get cheated on constantly. Women don't cheat. Women don't do anything wrong. Like, that's like the overall narrative of society type shit. But it's more,
of course,
it happens more often than reported on. If you go to these inner cities, bro, from East Oakland, I know I'm not gonna say as many, but bro, I know so many women that are some ain't shit mothers, bro.
I think the overwhelming majority of people
look at foster care. Look at foster care. Not to cut you off, but look at foster care. If women were there for their kids, it's like foster care wouldn't exist. So it's like, there's in foster care numbers are high, which means there's a lot of women
I'm not saying
that aren't fit mothers. You
I'm
know what I
not
mean? So
saying
it's
what,
like,
yeah, I'm not saying women are perfect or they never leave their child or cheat or, are the ones that look for a divorce. What I'm saying is that statistically speaking, the overwhelming majority of people who don't stay with their children are men.
yeah, that's true because it is easier as a man to dip. I understand that, and I
Yeah.
just think my whole point to that is just as far as like women deciding like who to have a child with. It's just like um, like I said, just vet the person that you with because it's like in a way that's effective because it's like a lot of women choose men based off of like superficial shit. You know what I mean? And certain things that aren't like good for the long run. And I'm just speaking from my personal experience as a black man from an urban area where it's just like I see a lot of women that have had kids with niggas that they just had a baby with him because he was like he was that guy in the streets. You
Hmm.
feel me? He ain't shit as a father, as a family. You can look at the nigga and tell like, bro, this is who you decided to have a family with, bro.
Yeah.
Like, but you chose him because it's like he was popular. You chose him because he dressed well. You chose him because, which sounds weird, he had hella other women.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like women be choosing niggas based off of like just the dumbest shit ever. And it's like, it is like that sometimes. So if you choose somebody based off of like, just have a better vetting process for yourself. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Pay attention to red flags. I don't think it's gonna take for somebody to have to propose to you to choose to tell you that they're
Yeah.
serious.
One
You know what
could
I'm
say
saying? Because
that,
a
you
married
know,
man, bro,
yeah.
so many married men leave their kids all the time. I think they leave just as much as unmarried men.
Right, right.
If
Men,
I'm looking
yeah,
at like,
men leave.
you know what I'm saying?
But
Like
if
marriage don't guarantee that shit. So it's like it's so funny because women really think that it does. Like the way a lot of women, I'm not gonna say all, because a lot of women feel the same way I do about marriage and
Yeah.
look at things, with their feet on the ground like I do as far as like it not being a guarantee. But I've had conversations with like random people on Twitter about this shit, and they really be thinking like, oh, if I get married, then this is like the guarantee. I'll be and if it doesn't work out, I'll be an ex-wife. I won't be a baby
Yeah.
mama. Like there's a
Well,
difference.
one could say that religion and just strong cultural traditions have positive societal effects because of the teachings that uphold ideas of family and responsibility and obligations and duty. And so one doesn't necessarily have to believe in God to say that the
Right.
weakening and the loss of religion as an important part of people's lives and identities as teachings of how to live has had negative impacts in our society. And so you see maybe the prevalence of divorce and not choosing the right men or the right women and hookup culture, etc., is what has led to this sort of destruction of the social cohesion and fabric of society. That's just an argument. You could be against that or for it, but
Well, the thing is that like you said, you don't have to
it could be a
believe in.
functional argument for religion
You
as
don't
opposed to like
necessarily have to be
God or
religious.
Jesus or Islam exists.
But that's
Go
what
ahead.
I'm
All right.
saying. Like you don't have to be religious in order to believe in family. I believe in family. I believe in raising your child. I believe in if you decide to lay down and make this person, that you should, be there for him. Period. I don't believe. I'm not religious. I don't believe in a God. I don't believe, but I believe in raising your child. I believe in
Yeah.
raising the human being that you created. Period. And that's
Hmm.
it. It's motherfuckers that are religious and believe in God and all that shit, and then ran out on their kids. So
Yeah.
it's just like, you know what I'm saying? It's motherfuckers that's religious, go to church every. It's pastors
Right.
got cheating on their wives. It's just like, bro, come on, we human.
Yeah.
You know
But
what I'm saying? We human.
what are the effects on society at large that the beliefs in religion and religious traditions has? One could say that statistically it would lead to less of these sort of detrimental acts and events that happen nowadays.
Well, I mean, honestly, bro, religion is man made, bro. Let's just keep it real. And so I don't feel like you need to subscribe to a cult in order to believe that, oh, my like if I kill somebody, it's gonna have a ripple effect. This person's family is gonna be fucked up. Like I'm gonna go
Yeah.
to jail and whatever. Like it don't take, you know, believing in a religion to understand that. Like you don't
Yeah.
need religion to understand that like this is what it takes to be a good person, and this is what what it takes to be a battle. It's shit you can see with your eyes. You don't need to get on your knees and talk to yourself. You know what I'm saying? To have an understanding of that.
And yet one could say that the vast majority of people need to be reminded of certain things and to be within a particular cultural context to nudge them to act in a way that is beneficial to themselves and to family and to society, right? So it's not just being there for your family and creating and marriage, but just overall the type of person that you are because of a religious or more traditional context. It tends to push you in the direction of just being more pro-social. But you just tend to be better.
No, you don't, because Christians are the most hypocritical people I've ever met. Like what? People that claim Islam, people that claim Islam knocked down the towers.
Yeah. I'm just saying overall, right?
Like Muslim, and if you look at people, you talk to people that are really Muslims, they're not about that shit. They didn't condone that. Feel me? But there's people that use religion to commit terrorist acts. Yeah. It's messy ass Christians in the Christian church that's over here telling people business behind their back, hating gay people, hating trans people, hating people that aren't like them. They use Christianity to uphold slavery. They would try to, because you could pimp the Bible from, as a term I like to use, is you could pimp the Bible. I didn't create that term, but I heard it, somebody told me that you could pimp the Bible basically, right? You could take that wording and you could use it to apply it to whatever agenda that you're trying to push. You feel me? They try to use it, like I said, to uphold slavery. They use it. The KKK are Christians. Yeah. You dig what I'm saying? So it's just like, bro, it's all some shit that was made up so that you can understand, so you can have some type of understanding of, 10,000 years ago, why is there rain coming from, why is there water coming from the sky? Oh my God. Why is this hot ass little circle that's in the sky killing all of our plants? You know what I'm saying? Like, why is it so hot? Why is it flooding? Why is the water from the ocean coming up so high and killing everybody and shit like that? Like, trying to explain phenomenons and why did this person catch this disease, but this other person over here lived to be 99? We have to try to make some sort of understanding about it in our heads, so we create the idea of gods. Yeah, you feel me? I mean, you could a god.
You could use rationality to say that in order for there to be socially cohesive groupings or communities or society, there needs to be a sense of something greater than just the individual. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to believe in God or religion. It just means that it functions as a crucial fiction, as a necessary fiction to allow us to work as communities and a collective. That's all,
my thing about that is that, like, the extent that they took it to, like, killing people over, like, not accepting a religion and shit like that, it's like, bro.
Yeah, I just
and the way that like Christians and people that believe in God, like the way that they're just as judgmental as the people that, they look at church and God the same way they look at marriage. It's like something that you have to believe in. Like, how the people that be, in the street corners of, like, whatever major city USA that be outside with signs talking about, if you don't believe in God, you're going to hell, Jesus or hell, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Like, that's not the Christian way. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, bro, people look at it the same way. Like, people try to force religion on people. Like, if you don't believe what I believe, you ain't shit, you're going to hell. And you know what I'm saying? It's just like, bro.
Yeah, there's a long history of that. And,
it's just like, you don't need that.
I'm sure we'll continue debating this.
But it's like, this is the thing, though. But it's the thing, though. It's like, just to end this conversation, it's like, I understand that everybody, a lot of people need something to look forward to. A lot of people need something to believe in to get through the day, because a lot of fucked up shit happens in the world, so they need something to believe in. And I'm totally for what anybody believes it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of unexplainable phenomena that happen in the world, and I'm totally with everybody has the freedom of religion. Everybody has the freedom to choose whatever they believe in. But my thing is don't try to force it on me. That's all you know what I'm saying? Like, you can believe in marriage, you can believe in God, all that, but just don't try to force that on me, because I just don't like when people try to force their thing on everybody else because they feel like that's what everybody's supposed to be doing. That's where the cult,
I agree with you.
For me, and I don't like that.
Completely agree. And then, moving on to the next question. What was your relationship like with your parents growing up?
Me and my mom's relationship was great. That's like my best friend. Like now, I went through that period in my life where like you're a teenager and you just kind of like hella anti-parents. But after you graduate high school and you become a young adult and you start kind of you kind of go back to your parents after that. Like, I started like, getting a lot more closer with my mom, like as I became a young adult, and then all throughout my adulthood, that's been like my best friends. So like me and my mom's relationship is cool. She is basically the reason I'm the person I am today. And I have a lot of the values and a lot of the just my work ethic. I owe a lot of that to her. Just seeing what she's been able to accomplish over her life as a black woman raising two kids on her own, and just to see the success she's had in life. Ultimate role model for me. My dad, I don't really fuck with him like that. We was cool at a certain point, and then it just went downhill. And then, I lived with him for a few years when I was a kid. Other than that, I ain't really got too much to say about him.
What are your political views?
I wouldn't say I subscribe to the left or the right or whatever. Like I said, I'm a human being. And so I feel like as an objectively thinking human being, you're going to have ideas that fall on both sides. Like, when it comes to things like reproductive rights and, women controlling what they can do with their bodies, people just having rights to just be free humans. I'm more left leaning when it comes to that. But when it comes to guns, I feel like you should be able to have guns. I feel like there should be like sanctions on it, and I feel like the lack of sanctions on gun ownership in this country is the reason why we have a mass shooting every other week. But I feel like, yeah, guns aren't the problem. It's the people that are using them. You throw a bunch of guns into a pile, they're not going to go out and commit a bunch of mass shootings on their own. You dig what I'm saying? Like, it's the people. There's a reason why there's other countries like in London or like Canada. There ain't no mass shootings going on there every week. We had like 300 in the years. We're only halfway through the year. You feel what I'm saying? So it's just like,
well, they don't have the same rates of gun ownership in those countries that we do, but I do agree that.
But there's a way to to curb it though. You know what I mean? And it's mostly because the government is in bed with the NRA. We all know that, and so they don't care about the fact that they see little kids getting shot up on the news every day, like little kids, bro, and that does nothing to their psyche. It's all about money. You feel me? They don't give a fuck about nothing as long as that money keep coming in. So it's just like, it's hard for me to believe in government. It's hard for me to believe in voting. It's hard for me to believe in anything. And believe in a government that at one time, at one point in history, considered somebody to look like us as property. I don't believe in a government like that. I don't give a fuck how long. It was 50 years ago. It was literally 50, up until the 1960s. This country didn't even look at us as like fully functioning human beings. You feel what I'm saying? So it's hard for me to believe 100% with my whole chest in a government that just 50 years ago didn't even treat us like actual human beings. We didn't even have the rights of full human beings, just 50 years ago. You dig what I'm saying? So it's like, no, I don't believe in this government. I don't believe in the people that run it. I don't give a fuck who you are, if you black, you white. I don't believe in this government at all.
I mean, I do think that governments are made up of people, and so as people's ideas and beliefs change, so does what governments do and how they implement policies and laws. So I agree with you completely that the history of most Western governments have a lot of atrocities committed and certain things that we cringe at, just at the level of not accepting Black people's humanity, or even the treatment of women, Native Americans, etc. But I do think that there's an argument to be made for progress, and the fact that there's been an enlargement of who gets to participate and become part of governments as they currently exist. And so 60, 70 years ago, there wasn't an equal treatment of Black people and women, etc. But I think today one could argue that the treatment of minorities or women is a lot closer to what we would like than it was 60 years ago. So if that's the case, we've made progress. It's not perfect. We should still continue to work on it, or even if you're a radical, try to come up with something new. But I do think that just becoming obsessed or only thinking about the atrocities or shortcomings of societies and governments in the past doesn't help to move forward and make things better in whatever
way. I
way.
don't think that it's I just focus on it. I just kind of look at what's around me because of the fact that I'll take this for example. I didn't start paying attention to politics until like George Bush got in office. I was about that's about the age that I started paying attention to okay, this is who the president is and shit like that, right? From the time that George Bush was president in 2000, right, to 2023, there's been nothing that significantly happened for Black people. There's nothing that significantly changed for Black people. Like, what is the difference between being Black in the year 2000 and being Black in 2023? I see no difference. But I see a difference for gays and Asian people and pretty much, any other group that, doesn't look like us. Yeah. And so it's like, so what I mean by that is look at our neighborhoods, look at our schools in urban communities. Yeah, there's things that are changing and whatnot, but I don't think it takes 20 years to change something that can just be signed away with a law. Feel me? Y'all wanted to give Asian people, their rights and they got it in a year, just like that. And you mean to tell me that you can't find a way to make up for the fact that Black people in this country were property for 400 years? I mean, free education, that's a good start. That could be something. That's not hard to do. But it's going to be a bunch of people that are against that. It's going to be a bunch of people that think, what? Black people should be able to go to school for free? No. And it's like, why would you be against that? Given our history. You know what I mean? But there's going to be people, but nobody cares about, anybody else getting their rights. And the Chinese got reparations for what they did to them during the building of the railroads and things like that. I don't want to misspeak, but there's other groups that have gotten their reparations and have gotten their acknowledgments as well. But it's like when it comes to us, it's like, you want to act like there's so much political red tape that you have to go through in order to even the playing field for us. And I feel like, as long as we're looked at as a threat, which is the reason why they don't want to, even the playing field for us, it's going to continue to be like that. I don't see any, Black-owned, supermarket, or not supermarket, but I don't see any Black-owned, department store chains. I don't see any Black-owned airlines. I don't see any Black-owned, like Targets and shit like that and Walmarts. I don't see no Black-owned shit like that. So it's not equal for us because y'all got a head start. And y'all don't want us to catch up. I'm not one of them people that think that, Black people have it so hard or whatever. I think that, at this day and age, I feel like you can go as far as your work ethic takes you. But at the same time, I just feel like government and trusting the government and thinking my vote is going to change the complete landscape for people that look like me, false. Yeah, it could change some things about healthcare. It could change some things about taxes. That's a big tug. Those two topics right there are like the big tug of war every 4 years. But when it comes to the complete landscape for people of color, hell no. We all still gonna live in the projects. We all still gonna populate the jails. We're all still gonna be in that position. It is what it is. It's just a lot of things that can be fixed easily, but they choose to put their money into things like funding the war in Ukraine, which ain't got shit to do with us, but it's because you have some type of relationship with the leaders over there, so you want to dump billions of dollars into what they doing for some war that ain't got shit to do with us. We have to pay all of the high ass gas prices for it and shit. Over here, you want to fight us on getting rid of student debt, but y'all got billions of dollars to give to Ukraine and shit. It's just like, come on, bro. It's hard to believe in something like that.
Yeah, I think previously we've had this discussion, and I think I sent you an article looking at just certain measurements of Black improvement and just progress. And so
and don't get me wrong, I don't want to make it seem like I don't think that there's progress. I'm one of them people that is not for the whole I'm a Black man, it's so hard for me out here. Hell no, I don't believe that. I'm not one of them people. What I'm saying is the fact that this, the government that we live in, there's too many things that can be done. They want to sit up and act like they don't know why there's a crime issue in the inner cities. You dig what I'm saying? They want to sit here and act like they're clueless as to why there's not a gang problem in a place like Beverly Hills, but there's gang infested areas like Compton. Why do you think that is? You know what I'm saying? Y'all know the answer to that, but y'all want to sit up here and act like y'all so dumbfounded by the amount of crime in areas where there's poverty and generational poverty, and y'all want to act like y'all don't know why that is. And it's a check ain't gonna fix that. Handing out checks to niggas ain't gonna fix that. You know what I mean? They want to act like they don't know why shit is the way it is.
I think
You
the
know,
drug war was a completely devastating historical moment in the Black community, and so I
it was
agree
the
with
turning point. It was the turning point that got us
I,
to where we are right
I
now.
agree with you completely that the effects, like you said, continue to be felt today. A lot of the arguments and debates that we've had around incarceration and just the unequal treatment of Black people in the criminal justice system, I think is an extension of the drug war, and one could get into particular details about how the cocaine was getting in, the differential in the discrepancy in sentencing between powder cocaine and crack cocaine, et cetera. So, I mean, yeah, like just like the marriage debate that we were having and the religious debate that we were having, it's complex, it's nuanced, it's complicated. But I do think that just like there are ways in which the Black community has suffered, and there are ways in which there's still a lot of work to be done to get Black people to a place where we would feel a lot more comfortable in terms of their ability to flourish and succeed. I think there are also arguments to be made about, the growth of the middle class, access to education. There's you were talking about just a lack of visibility for Black people in terms of entrepreneurship or owning businesses, but we do have Oprah. We have Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan. There's a number of Black billionaires and multimillionaires and billionaires, which isn't something that necessarily to me is how we should measure it. But based on your own criteria for measuring success, I think that those things could be said. And then the country did elect Obama as a president. Did it change the lives of people, like you were saying, in the inner cities, and the way in which poor and less educated people, how they experienced governments and their own status? Probably not, but I do think that just taking a holistic overall perspective, one can see that Black people have progressed and had some real growth in the last 50 years.
I feel like the only way that but the people that you named are athletes and entertainers. There are no just straight up like Black families that are descendants of oil barons, or Black people that were, got in on a certain, stock market, got rich during the stock market back in the 40s or some shit and got money that they're living off of now. There's white people that are still living off of slavery money, bro.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? So it's like athlete or entertainer is the only way we can actually, amass any sort of wealth that can change our landscape. And don't get me wrong, like there are Black people that employ, others and look out for the community, but like most of those people that you name, they don't focus on like helping Black people. Like when other races, they got money, they bring theirs up. And I feel like when it comes to that divide between us as Black Americans, the drug war had a lot to do with that, because the 80s is when that sharp left hit for the Black community, and that's when we started having all of these single mothers, and we started overpopulating the prisons, crack babies, fucked up schools, fucked up neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no reason in the world why me as a Black man should be scared to walk down the street in another Black neighborhood, but that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
I go to a neighborhood in LA right now. I might, might not walk out with my life just for walking down the street.
I live in Philly, so
you know what I'm saying? Shouldn't be like that at all. But it wasn't like that at a point. Feel me? Like I should feel safe where my people are at. But that is so far from the case. You know what I'm saying? And so that hasn't gotten better.
Right, yeah.
You feel me?
And the drug war too, because in order for you to be able to sell the drugs that are illegal and to protect your turf, you have to be willing and capable of violence in order for you to be able to make the money to survive, and gangs emerge, and you have a Black market for drugs, and it always follows that violence is the thing that protects those markets. And so
which turned into like people like us being deemed as a threat. You feel me? So like a lot of cats, like you could tell when you walking past like certain dudes, like other dudes that look like us, they give you that certain look like you a threat. Like we look at each other as a threat. You feel me? Like we don't look at each other and and just be like, oh, what's up, or whatever. It's always like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's always just like, just like this energy that's just kind of like combative almost. Like who is this nigga? And like, is this somebody that I gotta worry about type shit? Like that's like the first thing that goes to your mind. And that's sad. And
yeah. I don't think they look at me like that, but like
but you never know.
That's
you
true,
never know.
Yeah,
if me and you was walking down the street somewhere in like if we walking down the streets in one of the worst, if we walking down Hoover Street in LA, one of the worst neighborhoods in LA.
Yeah.
If me and you walking down the street, somebody gonna see us as a threat.
Yeah, that's true.
You dig what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck if you're Larry and I'm Ty, nigga. They, who is these niggas? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just, and it's sad, bro. Like, that's fucking terrible. If you look at it like from the ground up and really look at it for what it is, that's fucking terrible, bro. You can't even walk down the street. You know what I mean? I be seeing this is one page I follow that's like all about LA culture or whatever. And they always and it's like this particular Louisiana fried chicken that's on this one neighborhood that's on the corner in this one neighborhood that's a big Crip neighborhood. You feel me? And they always it was like some dude that did a food review about the food there one time, and everybody in the comments was just joking, like jokingly serious about how much in danger dude was just being there. Like, and it's like
why? Yeah, exactly.
Bro. Like, he can't even go get food and do a review and eat his food on the hood of his car and just chill and make a video real quick. Like, he's got to worry about his safety, just getting something to eat. He ain't from there. He's from like Arkansas or some shit. He's in California visiting, just trying to make a food vlog. Nothing happened to him, but I'm just saying, like, that's how, that's where it's at. That's the state of our community. And it's just like, it ain't our fault that we became like that.
The potential for violence seems to be always lurking.
It's way too high, bro. And it is crazy, but it is what it is. And at this point in history, the way I look at it is just like, I just have to look after, me and mine, and, try to help mold my son to be the best person he can be, continue being the best person I can be. And, I make music. And so I just try to, like, whoever wants to, I feel like with what I'm doing, I'm trying to bring awareness to certain things. Like, I'm about having fun, and I'm about, like, I talk, I'll be on the bullshit sometimes too, but, I'm a human, you feel me? I'm layered. But for the most part, I feel like my music, my overarching message, and what I try to say is I'm just making you aware of the human condition. Humans that are walking in similar footsteps as me, you're getting a taste of the human condition from my point of view. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully that, hopefully that can, help change some points of views, help better some people in some kind of way or something, and whatever the case may be. But like, other than that, that's really all I can do.
What was your experience in the education system like?
It was pretty good for the most part. I bounced around a lot. I moved a lot. And so I went to a bunch of different schools, but the schools are all tended to be pretty good. I had a good experience at pretty much all the schools I went to. And other than that, I feel like, I was prepared. I went to college, and I felt like I based the question that you asked, like how my experience was in the education system, I felt like I based that answer based off how prepared I was for college.
Okay.
And I was pretty prepared for college.
Okay, that's a good answer. Yeah.
I could have did better in college, but how I did in college, I finished with like a C+ average, and I feel like I finished with like a 2.7. But that had nothing to do with like my readiness. It was more so just me like having like my ups and downs and shit, as far as like what was going on in my personal life. But like, I was prepared for college. It was a certain point where I was like, making A's and B's and shit. So like, I could have stayed on that path, but I just had my ups and downs. But other than that, I had a good education experience because I was prepared for school. Prepared for higher education.
Yeah. Are you doing anything towards self-improvement?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm into music, and I'm really trying to make a push into, growing my brand and expanding as an artist in this next year. And so over the past couple of years since the pandemic started, I've been like on a huge, just like self-improvement path. Like just trying to find ways to better myself just so I can be a better artist and just a better person. And just, try to become the best version of myself that I can be. So I've been trying to get my body together, get in shape. It's always something that I wanted for myself, but I figured it would help me with music as well because, just be, more marketable, just being able to like look better, so I'm almost hit my goal from that. And that was a process in and of itself that I saw through, and I'm really proud of myself for that. Musically, I feel like I taught myself how to, make beats and actually produce. And, that was, a process in and of itself that I'm really proud that I invested in, and was able to learn for myself. And I'm, learning every day and getting better at that every day. I mean, I even started teaching myself how to cut my own hair, and I think I'm getting pretty good. You know what I mean? Like,
I do the same. I do the same thing.
You feel me? Like, bro, the barber costs like $50. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I couldn't do it anymore. So it's just like, especially because I'm not working. So it's just like, I had to like find more cost-effective ways to do things. So like, I got really good at cutting my own hair. I started making my own beats instead of having to like lease them from like different producers online and shit. And I just found ways to cut costs, but also just help me, develop my repertoire and just, some more tricks to put in the bag. So yeah, I'm all about self-improvement, and I'm constantly improving every day, bro.
Any big regrets in life so far?
I don't think I have any regrets. I feel like I'm happy with my life. So I feel like if I was to change anything about it, I probably wouldn't be in the same position I'm in now. So I feel like everything that I've done in the past, I feel like helped shape me to be the person that I am now. And I'm happy with the person I am now. If I wasn't happy with the person I am now, then I probably would have regrets. But I'm happy with the person that I am and that I turned out to be. So I feel like I don't have anything that I can say I regret.
Last 3 questions. The Whatslacking questions. What's your favorite book of all time?
Makes Me Want to Holler by Nathan McCall. That's a really, for the time period that I read it in, I read it when I was like 14, I think. And it was just the book that always stuck with me. Like, it was an autobiography by a dude named Nathan McCall. And it was a really powerful book, man. It was like something that I felt like I needed at that point in my life and didn't even realize it. It was a really good story. It was a really, captivating story. It was just, very relatable. The dude been through a lot, and it just like helped me shape a lot of the decisions I made in my life. I would recommend anybody to read it. It's called Makes Me Want to Holler by Nathan McCall.
Can you give us a brief synopsis of the book?
He's young. He's older now, but he's just a young black man growing up in, I believe it was the 7 Cities area in Virginia. And, he didn't really have a lot growing up, but he wasn't like poor, but he was just like, it was kind of rough. Cause like I said, like, when you got, even if it is a somewhat good area, I hate to say this, but when you live around a lot of black people, a lot of like, nigga shit is gonna happen. So it's like he wasn't in the worst neighborhood, but it wasn't the best either. And so he just got caught up in a lot of things growing up, didn't make some of the best decisions, ended up in jail, but ended up turning his life around.
Okay.
And he turned his life around in a major way. And so the stories that he told from like just certain instances that he was in growing up, very relatable stuff, man. It was just like certain situations that a lot of young men are in that, you got to navigate around, just dealing with like peers, dealing with like, girls, and, just dealing with like, just bad decision making, and how like a bad decision you make as a kid can follow you for the rest of your life. He made it out, and he did well for himself. And it's a really good coming of age and like somewhat of a redemption story as well.
What's your favorite movie of all time?
That's a hard one, because what kind of movies, man? Shoot, that's like, I always have to give like a top 3 at least when it comes to movies. All time. Movies that like, I would have to say movies that like shaped me. Fresh. There's a movie called Fresh. What's his name? The guy that plays Gustavo Fring in Breaking Bad. What is his name? He is so slept on.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Latin dude, bro. He's dope.
Actually, I don't know if he's Latin.
You don't think so?
No, yeah. He always plays like a Dominican or Puerto Rican character, and then I looked him up, and I think he's half white, half black. I could be wrong.
No, he's definitely not. His name is Giancarlo Esposito. He's definitely not black and white.
Right, Esposito is Italian.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I think so.
I thought that was Spanish. That's crazy. Yeah, but Giancarlo Esposito. About, yeah. But his middle name is Giuseppe.
Yeah, I told you.
His middle name is Giuseppe. You're right.
Hey, but he looks Dominican. My man looks straight up.
Bro, and the accent, bro.
I mean, he's a great actor. He's a great actor.
And he speaks Spanish really well.
Listen, when the money is there, it incentivizes you to perform.
But the thing about it is like we all could see through Al Pacino's accent.
Hey, I thought he did.
No, but I mean, no, Scarface is a classic, but we could see.
No, yeah, even the exaggerated Latin accent,
like
I thought it was good.
Giancarlo Esposito sounds like a native Spanish speaker. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he kills them shits. Like, he kills them roles. But no, it was a great movie with Giancarlo Esposito and the guy, the kid Fresh, who plays Fresh. He was in the show called The Corner on HBO back in the day. It's like some old school shit. That, and he just resurfaced in a role in Ghost on Stars. But I can't think of his name, but like he played Fresh, and Fresh is one of my favorite movies ever. So I have to say, like, Fresh, Shawshank Redemption, and New Jack City. Okay. I put those three up against anything. I know there's a lot more movies that are more critically acclaimed. It's really good, yeah. You know, critically acclaimed and all that shit. I don't care.
I mean, Shawshank Redemption is critically acclaimed.
But I mean, there's a lot of other movies that people think are like, you know, oh, this is a classic, and it's this is nominated for this and this.
Yeah. And New Jack City is a hood classic too. So I mean, Fresh
is one of them underground indie movies that was super slept on, but it's a dope story.
I'll check it out.
It's dope as hell. I'm surprised you haven't seen it, bro. Fresh is like a hood classic. Like an indie. Yeah, it's like an indie hood. It's an indie hood classic.
Yeah,
it's dope. Good.
And you as a musician, I'm looking forward to this response. What's your favorite album of all time?
That's another one I gotta give like a top 3 on also.
Go ahead.
Because as an adult, my music tastes and things like that started to expand. Okay. So I would say at this stage point in time, like my all times are The Infamous by Mobb Deep. Fuck, I might have to just give a top 5, bro. I have to give a top 5 because it's not one that I can just pick and just be like, oh, this is the one forever. So it's The Infamous by Mobb Deep, All Eyes on Me by Pac, Blank Face by Schoolboy Q, Good Kid, Mad City, and then Forest Hills Drive by J. Cole.
What do those albums all have in common?
They all have like a really dope theme to them. The Infamous album, grimy East Coast storytelling all through that shit. I loved it. And my honorable mention would be the Illmatic by Nas, but I feel like that's like hella like wannabe hip hop heady type shit. So I just kind of left that one out. But like the Infamous was just grimy storytelling, just East Coast shit all the way through. Pac's album, that was the album that I actually just remember all those songs like when they came out. Like I was singing those songs in the lunch line in elementary school, like with my friends. Like I Ain't Mad at You was like one of my favorite songs when I was like in the first grade. You know what I'm saying? Like no, straight up, bro. Pac was the man. You gotta realize I'm from the West Coast, so Pac was the man out here, bro. Like I Ain't Mad at You. And
but first grade though, like dang.
I mean, it was all over the radio, bro. Like all over. Like we had this shit called CMC, California Music Channel, and Chewy Gomez ran the channel. Bro, all you would see is the Toss It Up video with Casey and JoJo. I Ain't Mad at You. Feel me? E40 and shit. Like, bro, it's real West Coast shit. You feel me? So it's just like that's just, you know what I mean? So just because in the album and All Eyes on Me, it's like it ain't been a lot of rap albums that are made like that since then, because it's like, bro, you gotta think about it. It was a double album, maybe 21, 22 songs, bro. 11 of them were like top 10 singles. Feel me? Who other than Drake has like done some shit like that? You know what I mean? So it's like it's you know that, and then Blank Face by Schoolboy Q. I feel like that just Schoolboy Q is just, you know, he's an acquired taste, I feel like. But as far as just like that album, I feel like was like his peak of just like artistry, creativity. It was kind of dark. He even said that in an interview. He was like, it was kind of dark, but it was just like, I don't know, bro, I was moved to tears on one of them songs, bro. Like just because of like this song with the dude from the Delphonics, Straight Ballin'. Because this is his voice. And it was like, there's a lot of pain in that song, bro. Like, and just, I could tell, like, he did that on purpose. Like, you could feel, like, really feel where he's coming from on Straight Ballin'. Like, you know what I mean? It was just dude's voice. It was just, like, not moved to tears because I'm, like weeping. It's just more so, like, it's powerful. Like, when you first hear dude's voice come on, he got a crazy-ass voice. And so it was just, like, bro, this dude is, like, this song is fucking, yeah, man. Like, the John Muir video, like, it's just a classic album. He just put it together like a fucking work of art, man. The John Muir video is a classic rap video. It's dope as hell. It's just it's telling a story. Them TDE niggas, bro, they're like grade A storytellers. So yeah, Blank Face is just, it's just a work of art in my opinion. What did I say? Good Kid, Mad City. I was like at my peak Kendrick Lamar fandom at that point. I had found out about him when I was in college, and it was before he blew up like that. And he had the Section 80 mixtape or album, whatever you want to call it. And then before that, I heard like he had another like mixtape before that. But when I was listening to him in college, he didn't really come off as all that deep. He was just kind of like a dude that was like cool to just smoke and listen to and just kind of vibe out and chill. He had a song called like Alien Girl that I liked a lot. And it was just chill music. And then like I graduate and then I see that, I'm in the grocery store and I see on the double XL that he got signed to Aftermath. I'm like, but they where this come from? Like Dre just don't be signing anybody. You know what I mean? Like this is a big deal. Then when Good Kid, Mad City came out, I was like, damn, this is who he been the whole time. Like, shit, I didn't even know he was harboring all of this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that was like a movie. You feel me? Like just because like the sound clips and how they try how he composed it, like with all of the sound bites and everything like that. Like he made it like it was a movie. And so it was just like, bro, I didn't even know he was like on that level. And so like that was just, yeah, for that point in time where I was at in my life, and just it was just the greatest rap album I ever heard at that point in my life. So I was just like, yeah, this is it. And then for Forest Hills Drive, I felt the same way. That was like J. Cole's like magnum opus. I feel like it was just like, yeah, I don't think he's done anything better than that since then, and I don't think he had anything better than that before that. You know what I mean? Like no role models, fucking Tale of Two Cities. That shit was hard, bro. It was just, yeah. I don't think he's ever been able to match that since.
Yeah, that's a great.
And then I said Infamous, All Eyes on Me, Good Kid, Mad City, Blank Face, and Forest Hills Drive. Yeah, it was my five.
All right, thank you for taking the time to be in the Whatslacking Podcast. Appreciate it. Great conversation. We'll continue talking.
Absolutely, bro. Always good talking to you.
All right, take care.
All right, you too, man.